third semester here at SAE. I've always loved music, but I didn't go to school for music. Like him, I went and got a bachelor's in psychology. I was gonna take some kind of road to do some kind of music therapy or something like that. It didn't work out, so I came here. I like film and television, always have, and just being here, it totally changed my view on music and artistry. And so I started, after hearing so many horror stories about what artists have to go through to get noticed, recognized, played, or whatnot, I started a student-based radio station, and it's still in the works. But I kind of want to be that force to kind of push student artistry out there so that they can be heard without having this huge payola. I want them to have a place where they can be heard. And it's not just SAE, it's gonna be, anywhere where students are going to school and doing music. But I just wanted to know, like, what information or what advice would you have for me in order to be able to help students and help get them out there?
Yeah, that's about here.
So you trying to bring exposure to music students?
Yes. Get them played, get them out there, get them heard.
Well, I would think.
The radio station.
Yeah, well, I would think more updated. I would think more technology-wise if I were you. I would start thinking about, because that's where a lot of young people are and want to see new artists. Come up with a site that says, newartist.com or something.
Right to the point.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Do this. My point is, just do it.
Yeah.
You know what you want to do
That's
better
what
than
it is.
anybody else. Just
Trip
do
and
it.
fall a little bit, stumble around.
Yeah, you got a trial and error.
Yeah.
All of us up here have trial and error.
Caught a machine on fire just the other day.
But until
They
until you try it, you would never know.
Right.
You would never know. If it don't work, that's okay, because now you know that didn't work, and you know to try something else.
True. Okay, thank you.
You had a Facebook page that
Right.
that all your students subscribe to,
Right.
and they had all their friends subscribe to it, and then you do a different artist out of the class each week.
On the video. You got
It's
too
free.
many tools right now.
It's free.
We do have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, and an IG page.
Promote.
What is it?
What is
It's
What is
Straight
it?
A Radio.
Say it slow.
Straight A, STR, the number 8A Radio. So,
Now, okay,
Thank you.
what the thing you're trying to do doesn't match the name to me.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Brandon.
Branded is important. Make it the title of what you want to do so somebody can have a clue what it is that what you're doing. I have a workshop that I do is called Making the Violin Fun. So there's no doubt somebody knowing what does he do in that class. I make the violin fun.
okay.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
straight, what did you say?
Straight A.
Straight A. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking academically.
Yeah.
When I hear
I went
that.
straight to
I'm
that.
hearing
I ain't gonna
tutoring.
make
Yeah.
So you need to get the branding thing together first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Staying with that, guys, what do y'all think are the absolute essentials for somebody to self-promote these days in social media? What do you have to have? Facebook?
All of it.
Every-
I mean,
everything?
unfortunately, in this today's world, if you don't have the things you need to have social media wise, you're not
You're not doing.
legit. Or,
Right.
You know what I mean? If you don't have a
So you
website,
gotta have your website.
you're not legit.
And you gotta have Facebook, you gotta have Twitter, and what else do you think is essential?
You gotta have a good website.
Yes.
Yeah, not just something thrown together.
Right.
Right.
And it's a lot of big time artists that you see. You go to their websites and it's hard to navigate. You really can't figure out what they got going on next. You gotta have a website that kind of encapsulates everything that you do. And it's gotta be quick too. It can't be a lot of words, you know.
Right.
Everything has to be at fingertips, you know, and just enough to hold the attention. Everything needs to be visible. I mean, even from putting white letters on a black background. Because everybody that's looking at your website can't necessarily see well.
Yeah.
You
So,
have to
so
think
the
about those
cosmetics and the aesthetics have to be there, but also at the same time, you have to keep it updated. And not just website, you need to stay current, even on your Twitter. I hate it. I'm from old school. I don't tweet really. I don't Instagram all that, but I do have somebody that does it for me.
I was just about to say, yes, I'm tweeting.
Because that's
right now.
important as an artist. If I'm not tweeting, if I'm not, putting something out there every now and then on Instagram or Facebook, I'm not legit, unfortunately. That's how it is. You just got to make sure you stay on top of that social media, that branding. It's the branding. It is definitely the branding.
And you can attach them all. My Reverb Nation is attached to my Facebook.
Exactly.
My Facebook is attached to my Twitter. And it's all attached to my website.
Exactly.
I place it one time, it hits everything. So that way it looks like I'm a Twitter person, and I'm not.
Exactly.
Another question, right here.
I wanted to know, like, how much time y'all put into mastering your craft?
24 hours.
Still doing it.
Still doing it. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you said that because a lot of times, and I've told the story before, it's not always, gigs don't always come in. They're not always coming in. So instead of me getting upset and blaming promoters or blaming my manager or the clients or why didn't we get this gig or all that, you know what I do? I go in my basement and I practice. It has nothing to do with nothing else. I go and practice. Because when I practice now, this is gonna get you. It makes me feel good. When I feel good, the phone starts ringing. It's internal. I'm not saying I want to practice because I'm not good enough to get this particular gig, but I go and practice to make, it's almost like a confirmation. I can do this. Wait a minute. Because you will get no's. And that's okay. But don't take it personal. Yeah, positive energy. I kind of approach it from within. I don't want to get too deep, but yeah.
Get deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if Altie told everybody about his new Bose distributorship. Did you talk about that? Altie is the first African American distributor for Bose products.
I thought I was first.
So will you talk to them a little bit about endorsements?
Endorsements?
And what you have, what kind of value you have to offer to a company for them to want to invest?
Basically, just look at, honestly, there's a couple of ways to approach it. So, let me see what's going to be more effective. We'll see. It's like most people in here are producers or songwriters, not so much engineers. But accreditation starts with placements. And that's mainly how mine came about. I realized there was an open market that nobody, as engineers, was advertising or taking advantage of the opportunities they had when they would perform with certain artists, accredited artists that may have had a hit record, because it's only a short window. So when you get that window, if you're on that team, that's your opportunity to go to some of these manufacturers, because now they want you to brand their stuff. They're looking for you, but you don't even know. Most times, artists, the musicians and the engineers, people just don't know. So I had this guy came to me and he told me, he was like, hey man, I got all these endorsements, and he was on American Idol. I'm like, what? Oh man, cool, I'm gonna go do the same thing. So I took my accreditations and I started branding myself, like we all said, branding. So I branded myself as an engineer. You know, I started with Yamaha first. I called a lady with Yamaha. I said, I work with this group, Cool in the Gang, Earth, Wind and Fire, Chaka Khan, Mary J, da-da-da. And she was like, really? I said, yeah, why don't you come out to one of the concerts? She said, where are you? I said, New York. She was like, okay, cool, I'll come. It was just that simple. I picked the phone up and asked for the A&R rep. Who's your public relation person? It was like, my public relation person is such and such, give her a call. And that's what I do with every manufacturer. So what happened, I guess I just take you into what happened with me and Bose. Just like Kim was playing, I was playing. Well, and I was playing because I heard Jay-Z say some stuff. Jay-Z said he did an interview, he got some kind of endorsement or whatever, and in his endorsement, he put in that he wanted a jet plane. And they said, no. He was like, we don't even know you. He was like, so what? He said, I shot for the sky. So the same thing I did. Yeah, that's right. It sure was. It was iceberg clothing. Yeah, he knows his stuff. So at the end of the day, I kept getting endorsement branding. They call it partnership.
Yeah.
You still got to pay 40% or whatever over
Yeah, I was about to say.
the cost or whatever, so you still paying for it. I just got tired. Bose had met me. I did a show with Ludacris, and Bose had a new PA system out. I heard it, you know. The guy was like, hey man, we're gonna send you some free headphone if you fill out this information. I said, man, I ain't filling no information for you. He was like, why not? I said, well, if you're gonna give me some free headphones, I want you to get everybody in the band free headphones. Matter of fact, we know what headphones we want. If you want me to, I get Luda to come up and say something about it. He's like, really? Yeah. So the guy, he had no clue. So I ended up, I went to every band member, got a list of the headphones. And they was like, well, why don't you come out to Boston? Bose would really like to meet you. And I was like, sure. I went out to Boston. I was still winging it. We made them fly us out. Now, anyway, so we got out there. So I went out there with their tour manager, who was James Fuller. So James and I was there at Bose, and they decided that at that moment, they would say, is it possible we can do an interview with you? I was saying, sure. James said, well, are you guys gonna release the interview? They said, yeah. He said, well, let's sit down and talk about some financial situation.
That's right.
I was like, okay, what is he talking about? I'm looking out. So I got quiet. I was just want to see where we were gonna go. Well, he ended up talking them up to do an interview on me, and we got paid for it. Well, it didn't stop there. So we was sitting around, and they asked us their opinion on their product line. And I told them, your product line is great product line, but your marketing sucks. And they was sitting there with their mouth. I said, you have the best product in the world. But the problem is, the beats, I said, the beats got you guys beat on marketing, not in product line. Because I don't like the beats. When I go to mix a record, I can't mix off of that. It's too basic.
Too basic.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, when I'm sitting there, I said, you guys have no jazz, you have no wow factor, and you don't have anybody endorsing your product line with that wow factor. Every time you say Bose, you think of some guy on the golf course playing tennis or something like that. You never think of first class. You never think of somebody on the common person on the street wearing Bose product. And I'm sitting there, and all these guys sitting around, they're like, So at the end of the day, they were like, well, we'd like to offer you a partnership deal. I said, I don't want no partnership deal. James stood up and said, we want a distribution deal. There you go. I was like, oh, we can't do that. He said, you can. So, and that's where it all started. I'm not gonna go through all the details, because there was some other details that took us into the deal. At the end of the day, I closed the deal as of last week, officially. Not only that, within the week period that I closed the deal, I like one of the highest sellers for their new professional line in the Southeast already. I've already sold over $100,000 worth of stuff. So it's, you know, and I'm just a sound guy, you know?
Yeah, right.
But at the end of the day, like I said, you never know where your opportunities are going to come in from.
That's right.
You know, whoever thought I was going to have a distribution company? I never thought of that. Never had an idea, a clue. All I wanted to do was be a famous keyboard player. That's where it all started.
And that's where it all started.
Actually introduced me to Mims.
Yes.
When I was singing, Mims used to do all of my CDs and everything like that. And he used to give me a really, really good price, because we're family, of course, but also because he has his own in-house manufacturing distribution facility. Will you talk to them a little bit about investing in equipment and how important it is? How important it is
Make me
to,
think about bills.
and how important it is to have the tools you need.
Yes, what makes me, as far as stand out on CD manufacturing, I guess material period, just from print work to graphics or whatever, is quality, high in quality, meaning the best burners, the best, everything, just the best. The investment part, you gotta kind of see what you're trying to do, as far as what market you're trying to touch. You know, who can afford this? Like when you call me and you try to cut a deal with me on the phone and say, well, so-and-so sent me to you, but he said, give me your price, a deal. I'll tell you that you just called the most highest guy in the Southeast. Like, I'm very expensive. And I keep my, thank you, because back in the day, I got on the phone with the right person and they said, Terrence, what you do me 100 CDs for? And I said $150. And it was like, great, I'll be there in a minute.
Yeah.
I looked at the phone like, damn.
Didn't charge enough.
Right. Like we're doing $35 and all that. And I just jumped to $150. And Africa, yeah, we family for real.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, we're family.
Yeah.
I do all John. You've been doing your CDs for over
Since
a
I
decade?
started.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, but quality and speed is what I built everything on. And as far as investment wise, just choose where you're trying to go though, first with the right equipment that you're gonna need. And when you do, especially if you're dealing with a mass of people like I do, we're doing like 30 to 40,000 CDs a week. Nobody calls me back saying something doesn't play. But in the beginning, because we wanted the cheap burners and the cheap equipment and the shit, it's catching on fire. You know what I mean, for real, like my cousin, the CD caught on fire in her car. The wax, we got it was a stamper. I don't know, to y'all,
Never heard of
back
that.
in the day, the CDs, you know, so we had the stampers on them.
Yeah.
So me and John found a company out of China that was like, what, one sheet for half a penny? Let's get 1 million of them, you know. And it was catching people's storm. It was the wax would come off of it. That's how cheap it was. Anyway, you learn, you know, like she said about investment. So I've learned, you know, I've messed up and had to refund money back. And it gets bad when you're doing things that you have to refund. Here comes somebody else. You scared to pick up the phone because you're like, yes. It's horrible. You're like, oh, okay, we fixed that. So, you know, just know what you're trying to, the market that you're trying to cover, and the people that can afford it or whatever. But one thing I have done over the 20-some years is I've got great equipment. Everybody that works with me is either an engineer or what have you. I learned to stop paying to fix my machines. I got my engineers in-house. We've got over about 800 burners. Out of those 800 burners in the back, it's about 100 of them that we got the motherboard. You know, we still got the Pioneer burners in them. We don't throw away nothing. So I can fix stuff within 5 minutes, not now ship it back out and wait for it to come back and shut down business. So over the years, my investments have been very smart. You know, I just, even with my repairs, I was like, man, you know, you look at your books and you go, damn, you're paying like $20,000 on repairs this year, just on repairs of stuff, you know, whatever. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start hiring people that knows this equipment better than me. Even though I am the man or the face of the company, I've got people behind me, once again, my team, that's smarter than me with equipment wise to keep us up and, you know, being the Mac that we are. So, yeah, investment is very important, but it's how you invest. And then be smart about it. You know, like know that it's gonna break or whatever. Think like I did with the engineering part. And you know, we paid a guy a little extra too, because as soon as something breaks, he just, boom, you know what I mean? But I have no bad product out there in the market. And to deal with those masses of people, that's why everybody deals with me when they wanted to work. Like Creflo Dollar, he's got a huge CD, DVD manufacturer right there at the church. But when they want something to work, they call me. So, you know what I mean? Just get your rep up, invest in, I guess, you know, something that's gonna stand strong, and last long. Stay 5 years ahead of your competition.